Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got an interesting show for you. Yep. Virginia keeps poking the bear. They can't hardly help it, I guess. We're going to get into this. It's a couple things. You know, Tennessee's got a game in 10 days, and it's against Virginia. And Virginia was not very good last year, to say the least. And Tennessee was quite good with the offense we've got. And pretty much we're going to be playing at home, even though it's in Nashville, which is supposed to be a neutral site. I don't really consider that neutral at all. But anyway, it's coming up in 10 days. Now, we've already had the defensive coordinator talk about how they don't need to be prepared for Tennessee's offense because they're going up against Virginia's offense. I'll show you that. I actually covered that previously. I'll show you a little clip of it. They are making a huge mistake preparing for this first game. It just almost shocks me. And this is A to Z Sports with Zach Reagan. And Zach's a great writer, and you can also see him on YouTube, A to Z Sports Nashville. And he says one of the toughest things about preparing for the Tennessee Vols' potent up-tempo offense is that teams only get a week to prepare for UT's unique style. Tennessee's first opponent, of course, the Virginia Cavaliers, says they don't appear interested in using the extra time to their advantage, which could obviously, it's going to be a huge mistake. It's a monstrous mistake.
Big mistake. Big. Huge. I have to go shopping now.
It says Cavaliers defensive coordinator John Ruzinski was asked by a reporter if Virginia is doing anything special to prepare for the challenges of Tennessee's offense. He said he didn't sound too concerned about the Vols' tempo, instead suggesting that Virginia will be ready for Tennessee thanks to going up against the Cavaliers' offense, which was 126th in scoring last season. You can't make this crap up, people. Seriously, we're preparing ourselves because Virginia... Okay. All right, that's fine. Knock yourself out. It says tempo is something that Coach Tony Elliott has practices designed, so we go super fast. So tempo is something that we've got to do a great job as a defense throughout the year of controlling. Oh, my gosh. Be it, an opponent in a 2-minute situation. That's something that we work throughout the year, and I tell you what, our offense stresses us with that, and we practice fast. Okay. There you go. And Zach says, I'm not sure that's a wise approach from Virginia. I think all the teams that tried that. All right, yeah, so their defense is not really preparing for Tennessee's offense specifically. They feel like going up against the 126th offense in the country is sufficient. So anyway, we'll see how that plays out. But now we've got another situation. Coach Tony Elliott, the head coach of Virginia, basically said he insinuated that he turned down the job that was offered to him by Danny White, supposedly, and Danny White didn't appreciate it. As a matter of fact, that's the second time he's made a comment like that, and Danny's kind of sick of it, obviously. So he's pretty much denied offering the Tennessee job to him. And this is on Rocky Top Insider by Ryan Schubert, and this has been covered this is all over the news right now. And Danny White did interview Elliott during a search for a head coach. He obviously had to interview several people, not just Josh Heupel. That's kind of part of the deal. Said Elliott added fuel to the reports months later when he discussed with the Clemson media why he decided not to accept the Tennessee job. Said the former Clemson receiver never explicitly stated that White offered the job, but implied it heavily. Said at the end of the day, when I put everything on the table, it just wasn't the right time. He said, I'm happy for Heupel, excited for him and what he's doing there. And Danny White went to Twitter, and he said, interesting. He said, don't remember offering. Ignored this the first time, can't do it again. Says an interview does not constitute an offer. Interviewed several candidates, offered one. So obviously this has gotten under Danny White's skin because it's the second time that he's brought it up, and now he brings it up less than 2 weeks away from our ball game, which is, 10 days. So this is just more fuel to the fire for this ball game. I'm not sure why he keeps, I understand getting interviewed for a job. That doesn't mean you're going to get the job. It doesn't mean that you're going to accept it. It doesn't mean it's going to be offered. It just means that they're interested in talking to you. When you go on a job search at a university, you're going to have to interview 5 or 6 coaches as a possibility. You really have to. You certainly can't hire the guy from the place you're from immediately and not interview people. You've got to do a coaching search. It's just part of the deal. And this situation Danny White came into was a nightmare. because we were under NCAA investigation due to Coach Pruitt's doings and all that big mess. So not a lot of coaches were going to want to come into an SEC team that's got NCAA investigation on it. They just went 3-7, and 30 guys are transferring out. It was not a good situation. So Heupel came into a difficult deal. So he even put into the contract that if we did get a bowl ban, that he would get an extra year extension, which was smart on his part. So anyway, I'm not sure why Elliott keeps talking about this. Maybe he was asked and he just went ahead and responded. A lot of times people think that somebody just blurts something out. It may have been that a reporter asked him about possibly having the job at Tennessee, and that's just his narrative is, hey, it just wasn't for me, I turned it down. Or even though he doesn't actually come out and say it, he's heavily saying, basically it was offered to him. And that pushed Danny White over the edge to where he had to respond publicly. He's sick of that because that gets to Josh Heupel, and Heupel's like, oh, I was second choice or third choice. No, obviously he was the first choice. So this just adds a little bit of flavor to this game. And now I was thinking we probably should take it easy on them, just win the game, move on, whatever. But these, they keep making these little comments. We don't have to prepare for their offense. I turned down the job, etc. It makes it a little more spicy. Actually makes it a little bit more fun. So anyway, we'll see how this goes. But you might see a little more zest on the field over this. I'm sure Danny White would appreciate that. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's be able to continue to cover the Vols and SEC and all our opponents and all that. If you've not subscribed, it's on your right, my left. Just hit that little button. I'd appreciate it. And right over here is the most recent video that YouTube thinks you will love based on your viewing history.